And good night, everyone. This is update for March 26, 2022, day 31 of the war, end of the date update. We would like to do a little bit of housekeeping and go over units here because there are a lot of new viewers and they have questions. So when you see AD, that means Airborne Division. When you see NB, this means Naval Infantry Brigade. SFB means Special Forces Brigade. And Special Forces Brigade are about 30 to 40% of the regular brigade. SOBR is militarized police. 141st Regiment and Battalion South. This is essentially almost like one unit. This is militarized police from Chechen Republic in Russia. So they are separate in a way from regular SOBR. So for that reason, we separate them. TB means tank brigade. If we don't have anything, any designation, any letter next to the number, that means it's just plain brigade. TD means tank division. Like here, A, it means army. 2MD means mechanized division. And just as a side note, so Russian tank divisions, they can come in two ways, two varieties. One would have three tank regiment, and 90th specifically has three tank regiment. And we believe this is the only one that has three, which means that it has 12 per battle of order 270 tanks. At this point, this particular unit doesn't have anything close to it, but just so as a reference point. Mechanized division usually would have one tank regiment, so that's about 90 tanks in it. Then, for example, 4th tank division here, it has only two tank regiments, so it has authorized strengths of about 180 tanks. Let's look more if we see if any special units that we haven't discussed here. Here, the only one, it's this unit called 7MC. So this is literal name of this unit is 7th Military Camp. This unit actually came from Abkhazia, which is occupied region of Georgia by Russia. But what this unit is it's really brigade. But since it's doing occupational forces, it's called military camp. But that's for all considerations. This is 7th Brigade. In terms of Ukrainian units, most of them are brigade level. Ukraine has a good number of battalion-size units, and it also has regiment-size units, which is Azov is a regiment-size unit. I think that's one more thing. This is a literal translation is a radio technical regiment. What this unit does, it's basically it's a radio electronic warfare unit. So it's a jamming, radars, and so on. We thought this is important to include since we kind of learned about it. This units here in this box, they are on front lines, but we don't know where they are. And this is 12th Engineering Brigade here. I think that's all about units. And now let's move to actual situation on the ground. And as always, we will start in a clockwise fashion, except one note that's more like strategic importance, and so we will mention it before we start going. So recently, a day ago, I believe Russian military officials said that they essentially achieved all of the goals that they needed everywhere except for Donbass. So they stated that going forward that they're gonna focus mostly on Donbass region. What this really means, in our opinion, is that Russian troops essentially switching to strategic defense everywhere except for Donbass region here, and we believe that future warfare will be very focused on this Donbas region and the whole sort of south of Ukraine, because this is the key for that. We believe that Russia wants to keep this land that they captured, specifically this one, not so much the ones that they captured in the north, where they really didn't really capture it because it was just supply lines. But here they want to keep it, this area, because there is important water supply that's coming from Nova Kakhovka that takes water from fresh water from Dnipro River, and it transports water to Crimea, which makes Crimea economy go. Because without that supply of that fresh water, essentially everything is super expensive in Crimea, and no really industrial activity can be done there. So this we believe that Russian troops will try to defend at all costs this Kherson area, and then obviously because they need a connection to Greater Russia, so they will try to keep this Zaporizhia region and obviously Donbass. So this will be critical area going forward, where we believe the majority of warfare will be focused on this whole south and southeast and east area of Ukraine. Nevertheless, this is area in the north is still important until the capital is still threatened. Let's start from the west of Kiev, as we always do. Here, we clearly see that the line of tension is shifting from Zhytomyr highway, which is straight west of Kiev, more towards north towards Warsaw highway, which is northwest of Kiev. That really means that the Russian troops are putting less and less pressure on Ukrainian troops in this area. We also found out that 331st Regiment of 98th Airborne Division was withdrawn back to Russia for refitting, which means that it suffered such a heavy casualties that it's no longer capable of executing any military action. This is obviously true for Ukrainian side, that Ukrainian side is suffering heavy casualties. The advantage of Ukrainian side is this is almost exclusively militia, which means if you lost, 1,000 people, there is another new 1,000 people of the same quality easily, that you can easily replace the sort of front lines. Versus when you have regular troops, it's not easy to do on the Russian side. As we discussed before, there is also here 11th and 31st Airborne Brigades, which are also very worn out, and we believe that they are only capable of limited defensive action at this point. So overall, this force here, which used to be now estimate up to 50,000 in troops, now is probably around 35,000 of troops, and fighting capabilities and especially offensive capabilities has diminished quite significantly. There is no, though, any kind of Ukrainian offensive or whatever potential pocket for Russian troops. That's not the case at this point, because with militia you cannot really attack in a meaningful way. This is more defensive force only. Let's move now towards east of Kiev. There's no news here. Russian troops are still there. We believe that they also facing significant challenges supply-wise here, and we will explain a little bit later what's going on, and you'll understand better. Now let's go back here, and we'll show you sort of big picture again. So here, 93rd Brigade attacked straight north from area of Akhtirka. They captured a town of Trostianets. And then we also have unconfirmed reports that they are captured two more villages here. What this really means, that this potentially can cut off the southern supply route for this long Russian hand. and potentially they can kind of go along the border, Russian border here, and try to cut off this whole hand. So far, let's just actually do a close look at this. So, so what we know that they definitely captured town of Trostyanets, 93rd Brigade. There is also reports that they captured village of Slavgorod and then Krasnopilya. So basically, apparently they attacking along two routes, this one and then also the one that kind of goes along the Russian border here. So for those reports, they attacked also, they captured town village of Krasnopilya, and they also captured town of Boromля, which is shown still in Russian hands here. We don't have the confirmation for this. This is very early to have any confirmation. So potentially this is much worse because this is really getting close to the supply routes or like southern supply route for Russian army. What this really here means, Sumi, is that there is Ukrainian administration in the city, but it's kind of existing at the will of Russian forces that surround this city. Let's keep moving towards Kharkiv. Kharkiv situation is quiet, just positional fighting here. Let's move to Izyum because situation there is quite difficult for Ukraine, and we'll explain a little bit more what we learned so far. So from what we know, Russian troops are attacking south, and they moved several kilometers past village of Sukha-Kamenka. They are kind of provisionally stopped by 95th Brigade, but we don't think that they will be able to keep them at bay much longer. And the reason for that is actually the whole reason why this whole bridgehead managed to get active and how Russian troops got broke out of this bridgehead. What happened is actually they used to have a pontoon bridge, which would be, they would establish it and then they bring some little troops and Ukrainian army would destroy that pontoon bridge. And so there was this kind of always this kind of game of cat and mice, and they were never able to accumulate enough troops to break out. So what happened is, based on the information from locals, is that Russian troops found ford across the river, which means that they don't need any kind of bridge, pontoon bridge, that they equip and just simply cross the river and go into fighting. We're not very clear. From one records, the ford is somewhere near village of Topolsky, which sort of kind of doesn't make sense from the whole picture. And we believe that it might be near village of Sinichine, but we don't have exact information. All we know that they found ford somewhere across the river, and they accumulated significant amount of troops. Probably they managed to move to bring entire 6th Brigade and probably even more units of the 47th Tank Division to the western bank of the river, and they're trying to attack Ukrainian troops and move south. Ukrainian troops mounted counterattacks here, but they were repelled with heavy casualties for Ukrainian troops. So what we think is going to happen here is that Ukrainian general staff is probably going to pull another brigade from the number of brigades you have seen in the south in Donbass, and it will bring here another brigade to contain this breakout. Otherwise, and it's going to be very hard to contain regardless. The fighting is very fierce and intense here. So we'll see what happens, but it's going to be very difficult task for Ukrainian troops to contain any longer this attacking Russian division. Let's actually, so we believe that Ukrainian army may pull like this 128th Brigade or 30th Brigade or 79th Brigade, which are generally in better shape, more experienced brigade in Ukrainian army. Besides Izyum, there was ongoing fighting around town of Severodonetsk. No major progress for Russian troops, just continued attacks on the town. The same goes true for town of Popasna here. Russian troops capture part of it and they continue attacking in that area. Then there is again ongoing fighting here, like west of Donetsk. Two main areas, directions of attack. One is towards northwest of Donetsk. This is town of Avdiivka. No success at all there. And then the other direction of attack is to southwest of Donetsk, and it's a village of Marinka. There, Russian troops managed to make good progress, but they still not out of the defensive lines of Ukrainian troops. Let's, in terms of this line between Vuhledar and a little bit south of Zaporizhia, it's actually some viewers mentioning to us that there is some activity going on. From what we've seen, it's actually pretty quiet and stable there. We do believe that there is a potential for a large amount of fighting here, but so far from our reports, what we're seeing, it's actually quiet. Even Ukrainian troops were reported to take control of two villages near town of Gulyai-Pole, which is the main stronghold here. This is town of Gulyai-Pole. That's a main Ukrainian stronghold in this area. So now let's look at situation in Mariupol. Russian troops claim that they squeezed out Ukrainian defenders from everywhere except for Azovstal, so that they basically confined to Azovstal, which we don't think is true because we clearly have seen Ukrainian defenders in their videos that they're fighting in the city. So that's not true. We're definitely sure that Russian troops probably made some more progress, but at this point, they're not very. The way they report it is that they think that it will take another week to clear out Mariupol. So, which tells us that the progress is extremely minimal and probably stalled at this point. So, in our view, it really depends on, at this point, not so much on Russian troops as on ability of Ukrainian troops to survive there, to have supplies of ammunition, fuel, and so on to continue fighting. We believe that at this point, all of the troops that were fighting, especially 810th Naval Infantry Brigade, are extremely exhausted and probably only capable of limited defensive fighting. So we don't really think that they will be very much used in attack towards north, because they probably kind of in the shape of 98th Airborne Division in the north, where they need significant refitting to be able to continue fighting. So this is the situation here. Let's move a little bit towards west to Makariv region. Here, everything is without really changes. We only confirmed, we have a little bit clarified situation around the town of Snigurivka. So it turns out that it's actually occupied by Russian scouting force. So that's why we changed the color. So this is under control of Russian scouting force, but there is really no major, like offensive or defensive here action. It's just positional fighting, shelling, and so on. There is no other sort of action there. Okay, well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Until tomorrow.